going to tackle about ecosystem. And you are going to differentiate biotic from abiotic components of the ecosystem and how these components to live together and build ecological relationships.
The most essential learning competencies in these lessons are: differentiate biotic from abiotic components of an ecosystem, and describe the different ecological relationships found in an ecosystem. And we have here the learning objectives. In this lesson, the learners will be able to define the biotic and abiotic components of an ecosystem, identify biotic and abiotic components, explain each ecological relationship, and draw an ecosystem with at least one ecological relationship, and write in a table the biotic and abiotic component present in the drawing. Let us start defining what is an ecosystem. Ecosystems have a natural balance of abiotic and biotic factors. Within a natural ecosystem, the transfer of energy drives the cycling of matter. There are two components of the ecosystem: the biotic component and abiotic component. Let us first discuss about abiotic component. When we say abiotic component, it refers to all of the non-living things in an environment. Examples are the following. 1. Air currents. It refers to the concentrated areas of winds. 2. Temperature. It is a physical quantity that expresses hot and cold. 3. Moisture. It refers to the water or other liquid diffused in a small quantity as vapor within a solid or condensed on a surface. 4. Sunlight. The light that comes from the sun during the day. 5. Soil. The upper layer of the earth in which plants grow. A black or dark brown material typically consisting of a mixture of organic remains, clay, and rock particles. While biotic component refers to all of the living or once living things in an environment. Examples are the following. 1. Plants. A living organism of the kind exemplified by trees, shrubs, herbs, grasses, ferns, and mosses, typically growing in a permanent site, absorbing water and inorganic substance through its roots, and synthesizing nutrients in its leaves by photosynthesis using the green pigment chlorophyll. 2. Animals. A living organism that feeds on organic matter, typically having specialized sense organs and nervous system and able to respond rapidly to stimuli. 3. Fungi. Any of a group of spore-producing organisms feeding on organic matter, including molds, yeast, mushrooms, and toadstools. 4. Bacteria. A member of a large group of unicellular microorganisms which have cell walls but lack organelles and an organized nucleus, including some that can cause disease. 5. Protists. Any of various one-celled organisms classified in the kingdom Protista that are either free-living or aggregated into simple colonies and that have diverse reproductive and nutritional modes, including the protozoans, eukaryotic algae, and slime molds. Let us proceed to the learning task 1. Study the pictures below. Mention at least 2 biotic and 2 abiotic components shown. Describe the functions of each identified abiotic components. Write your answers in the answer sheet. Okay, learners, let us check. In the first picture, the biotic components are aquatic plants and fish, while the abiotic components are water and stones or rocks. According to the instruction, you need to describe the function of the abiotic component. So number 1, water is where the aquatic plants live and grow. Also, fish need the water so they can dissolve the oxygen to breathe. Number 2 is stones or rocks. The function of this is to provide a home for beneficial bacteria. And for the second picture, the biotic components are cow, flowers, and grass. And for the abiotic components, air and soil. So again, you need to describe the function of the abiotic components. 1. Air consists one of the main life-sustaining gas called oxygen needed for the cow to live. And 2. Soil provides nutrients for the growth of flowers and grass. Good job, learners! You did great! Let us now discuss about ecological relationships. 1. Predation. It happens when animals kill and eat other animals. There are 2 organisms involved, the predator and the prey. When we say predators, an animal that captures and eats other animals. And when we say prey, the animals that predators eat. Predator-prey relationships, such as the one between cats and mice, involve a fight for survival. Another examples are eagle eating snake. Eagle is the predator and snake is the prey. Another, frog and insect. Frog is the predator and insect is the prey. Spider eating grasshopper is another example. Spider is the predator while grasshopper is the prey. Number 2 ecological relationship, symbiosis. The relationship in which there is a close and permanent association between organisms of different species. Symbiosis means living together. There are 3 kinds of symbiosis: mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. Let us discuss it one by one. First, mutualism. A symbiotic relationship in which both species benefit is called mutualism. Example, ants and acacia trees living in the subtropical region of the world illustrate mutualism. The ants protect the acacia tree by attacking any animal that tries to feed on the tree. The tree provides nectar and a home for the ants. Another example is the sea anemones and clownfish. A clownfish are usually found living on the tentacles of a sea anemone, which stings almost all other fishes. The clownfish has a mucus on the skin, which protects itself from the sting and protects the sea anemones from the butterfly fish. At the same time, the anemone serves as a safe place for the clownfish. Another is the flowers and bees. The bees get nectar from the flowers in order to make honey and gives pollen to the flowers, which then pollinates in order to make another plant. The bees now have a supply of food, while the flowers can now reproduce. And of course, another is humans and plants. Plants give off oxygen, which is important for humans to breathe, while humans give off carbon dioxide and collected by plants in order to make oxygen. Second is the commensalism. Commensalism is a symbiotic relationship in which one species benefit and the other species is neither harmed nor benefited. Commensal relationships occur among animals and in plant species too. Example, Spanish moss is a kind of flowering plant that drops itself on the branches of trees. The Spanish moss benefited in the relationship while the trees remained unaffected. Another example, ferns, mosses, and other plants sometimes grow on the branches of the larger plant. The larger plants are not harmed, but the smaller plants benefit from the habitat. Another example is the orchids growing on branches. Orchids rely on host plants for sunlight and nutrients that flow on branches. They do not grow to be large plants and do not harm the host tree in any manner. Orchids have their photosynthesis process and do not extract any nutrients from the host plant, apart from the water that flows on the outer bark. On the other hand, host plants gain no benefit from the orchard. And also, the sharks and remora fish. The remora or suckerfish is a small fish that grows to about 3 feet. It is a member of the ray-finned fish. The remora forms a commensal relationship with large sea organisms, especially sharks, turtles, and whales. Its specially designed suckers attach to the fins of the host animals and thus benefit for transportation and protection from predators. It also feeds on the leftovers of sharks. The small size of the remora makes it less intrusive, and the shark barely feels its presence. The third one is the parasitism. It is a symbiotic relationship in which a member of one species benefit at the expense of another species or the host. The parasites have evolved in such a way that they harm, but usually do not kill the host species. If the host died or the owner, the parasite also would die, unless it can quickly find another host. Parasites may be characterized as ectoparasites or endoparasites. What is the difference between the two? Ectoparasites including ticks, fleas, leeches, and lice, which live in the body surface of the host and do not themselves commonly cause disease in the host. Examples: ticks and fleas on dogs, leeches on fish, lice in human head. While the endoparasites may be either intercellular or intracellular. When we say intercellular, it is inhabiting spaces in the host body. Intracellular is inhabiting cells in the host body. Intracellular parasites such as bacteria or viruses, often rely on a third organisms, known as the carrier or vector, to transmit them to the host. Malaria, which is caused by a protozoan of the genus Plasmodium, transmitted to humans by the bite of an Anopheline mosquito, is an example of this interaction. Another is the plant ailment known as Dutch elm disease, caused by the fungus Ceratocystis ulmi, can be spread by the European elm bark beetle. Another ecological relationship is competition. Competition is a powerful form of interaction in the organization of communities, but it differs from other forms of antagonistic and mutualistic relationship in that no species benefits from the interaction. It is when species or individuals fight for the same resources. Species compete for almost every conceivable kind of resource, and the same two species may compete for different resources in different environments. Examples are hole nesting birds compete for tree holes. Plant species compete for pollinators and seed dispersers. Male birds compete for preferred sites to defend as territories for attracting females. Species may compete for many resources simultaneously, but often one resource called the limiting resource because it limits the population growth of each species. It is the focus of competition. Moreover, the ways in which species compete vary with the resources. In some cases, species compete by capturing resources faster than their competitors. It is called exploitation competition. In other cases, the two species physically interfere with one another. It is called interference competition, by aggressively attempting to exclude one another from their habitat. Now that we are done discussing about the ecological relationship, let us proceed to the learning task 2. Study the words below. Match each to their correct descriptions presented in numbers 1 to 8. Write your answers in your answer sheet. In the table, the choices are competition, commensalism, mutualism, predation, symbiosis, parasitism, ectoparasites, and endoparasites. Okay, number 1. A relationship in which one species benefit while the other receives neither benefit nor harm. 2. The species benefits and individuals of the other species are harmed. 3. Both species benefit. 4. Parasite that finds on the internal organs of the host. 5. The pursuit, capture, and killing of animals for food. 6. Any closer personal association among organisms of different species. 7. A parasite that feeds on the external part of a host. And 8. Interaction between organisms or species in which both the organisms or species are harmed or not benefited. Let us now check the learning task 2. Number 1. A relationship in which one species benefit while the other receives neither benefit nor harm. The answer is Commensalism. Number 2. One species benefits and individuals of the other species are harmed. The answer is Predation. Number 3. Both species benefit. That is Mutualism. Correct. Number 4. Parasite that finds on the internal organs of the host. It is endoparasites. Number 5. The pursuit, capture, and killing of animals for food. Correct. Competition. Number 6. Any closer personal association among organisms of different species. What is the answer? Okay, symbiosis. Number 7. A parasite that feeds on the external part of a host. The answer is ectoparasites. And last, number 8. Interaction between organisms or species in which both the organisms or species are harmed or not benefited. It is parasitism. How many got a perfect score? Wow, very good. And for the learning task 3, you need to draw an ecosystem with at least one ecological relationship. Write in a table the biotic and abiotic component present in your drawing. Do it in a long bond paper. Lastly, I want you to answer the learning task 4. Complete the following sentence prompts. I learned that. I understand that. Goodbye, learners. Do not forget to submit your answer sheet to your science teacher.